My name is Howard Miller. I'm a professor in the speech communication department, and I'm here today talking about really the differences between what you've done your whole educational career and what you're going to start doing. There are huge differences, and people say it's a big transition. It doesn't have to be. It's just a matter of you getting your head around what you have to do, and if you start doing it, it's friggin' easy. And if you don't, it's sort of different. So what I want to do is talk about what the classroom experience is going to be like compared to what you have experienced previously. There is nothing at all wrong with what you've experienced previously, but you shouldn't expect that the same thing's going to happen when you're in college. So for me, the biggest difference between high school and college is these two words, personal responsibility. One of the cool things about being 11 years old is you're not responsible for anything, right? I mean, your parents take care of everything. That changes now, right? Your parents aren't here with you. Would you want your parents here with you now, or would you be like friggin' mortified? You would not want them, why would you not want them here?
I don't know, I think I'd just rather be like independent.
Right, that's sort of the deal. That's what anybody would say, I think. Normally, like speech communication is my field. I'm such a high energy guy. I have to tone it down here and be really serious because this is, the next 2 to 4 to 6 years of your academic lives. And I think if you stay with me, I can help some. And that's what I'm here to do. You're going to find that a lot at Brookdale. This is why we have this job, because we kind of love it and we want to help you. So in high school, lots and lots and lots of structured time. In college, there is not a lot of structure. There is so much free time, right? In high school, you go from one class, a bell rings, you go to the next class, a bell rings, you go to the next class. Fair to say? Here, if you have my class, I might see you from 8 o'clock to 10:45 on Wednesday and not see you again for 165 hours. That's the whole week. 168 hours is a week. I won't see you again for a long time. So you have to figure out what to do with those next 6 days. And it's not like it's difficult, but you have to make a plan, because your plan previously was just go where you were told, do what you're told, go where you're told, do what you're told. You're the one responsible for this now, and you're the one figuring out how to navigate through this thing. It's not hard if you make a plan. It becomes more difficult if you don't. Just recognize that there's something different. You're likely to be successful. When you have questions, seek help. It's what we do. It's sort of like who we are. I worked at a bunch of other colleges before I came to Brookdale. This is not who we are at all of those other places. It absolutely is here. So while you're going to have a lot of free time and you have to figure out how to navigate that time, people are here to help. In terms of material covered, there's a lot of time to get through what you need to do in high school, and you don't cover a massive amount of material compared to college. It feels like there's less time, right? Your day still has exactly 24 hours in it, but it feels like there's less time even though you're in class for less time because things come up on you. Students, anybody procrastinate? Okay, yeah. So a lot of you procrastinate. The definition of procrastination is waiting until the last minute to get something done. I don't really have a problem with procrastination. Don't tell anybody. However, what some people say when they procrastinate, they actually wait until after the last minute to get it done. And this is going to hurt you. If it takes you 6 hours to do something and it's due at noon and you started at 6 a.m., well, you have 6 hours, you get it done. But if it takes you 6 hours to do something and it's due at noon and you start at 10 a.m., well, you're kind of screwed. This is what I'm saying, going back to that last slide, you have to make a plan. There's a lot more reading in college than high school. And one of the complaints I hear from students sometimes is, oh, that's not even on the test. Why did we have to read it? The reason is because there's more that you need to know than just what is on the test. I'm going to be honest, some of the classes that you'll take in your lives, you just need to get through. But you have to do this reading because that class that you think you just need to get through, it might be the thing that you end up loving. And if you don't do it, you don't know what that thing is. You at least have to start by doing this stuff and figuring out what it is that you love. If you don't do that work, you don't get there. Another difference, like this reading sometimes isn't discussed in class. I want to talk about that a little bit more. If you work in the classroom to get through the test in some of your classes, I get it. But you shouldn't do it in most of those classes. In a different life, I had a job as basically as a counselor, and I had a student who I worked with who was really not good at math, really not good at math. And so she struggled to get C's and D's. And I remember talking to her about this because she felt so badly that she might get a D in this class. She was gifted in other ways. She was a fashion merchandising student. And as an academic advisor for her, I said, let's make a trade here. If you get a D in this class, I'm cool with it. But if you get as low as an A- in one of your fashion classes, you're doing something wrong. Make sure you can identify what it is where you have to be great. And the other things, it can be okay. That reading, however, outside of class, you gotta start by doing it because that's how you find out what you love. Another difference between high school and college is your instructors. This is something I bet none of you know, so if you're not really with me, just get with me for the next 60 seconds or so. In high school, you call your teachers Mr. or Ms. or something like that. What if I repeated? If you're cool. But if you're not really with me, get with me here. You need this. This thing you need. You call your teachers Mr. or Ms. or something like that. Your high school teachers are experts in education. They know how to teach. They're trained in teaching. In college, you should call the people teaching the class professor. When you talk to me, if you're in my class, call me Professor Miller. Actually, I'm cool if you call me by my first name. I'm also cool if you call me by my last name. Whatever is good for you, but don't call me Mr. Miller. Mr. Miller is what you would call me if I'm teaching high school, and I want you guys to appreciate that there's a difference. This doesn't have to be harder, but it's different. The people who you run into, your college professors, are experts in that subject matter. I was talking to the woman who presented earlier today, and she was awesome. Like this is kind of the top degree of speech communication. She was so great. And I said, I teach this stuff. You are incredible. This is my expertise. Your college professors will be experts in the stuff that they're teaching you. Give them that respect to call them Professor so-and-so. This is where I want to say one different thing too. Not everybody wants to be called the same thing. You have to learn from them that things are going to be different. Class A and Class B don't have to be the same. Anybody do weight training, a decent amount of weight training? So you know that if all you do is bench press, flat bench, your pecs are gonna be better, they're gonna be bigger, they're gonna grow, you're gonna be in better shape. But if you do incline and if you do decline and if you do dumbbells and you do barbells, it's gonna be a hell of a lot better because there are gonna be these supporting muscles that you hit and you just end up looking better if that's what you're trying to do. The brain operates in much the same way. You have to hit it from different angles. And one of the things that's true in the college classroom is that one person's class and somebody else's class aren't going to be the same. Listen, figure out what's going on, and figure out how to adapt in that situation. And it's okay that they're not the same. In terms of contact with your instructors, a few people today have mentioned office hours. I can't speak highly enough about office hours if you're interested. This is a time where you can work with your professor outside of class. If I'm only with you for 2 hours and 45 minutes a week, there's not necessarily a lot of time in class. Come to people's office hours. Anybody ever heard of the term game theory? Game theory? So you can just nod. Can you explain what it is?
A guy named MatPat basically looks at games and makes theories based off of them.
that's not far off at all. It's theories based off of that and figuring out how to win at games, how to succeed at that thing that is a game. One of the best game theory tips I can give to you to make your college experience easier is, like in the first 3 weeks of class, go to your professor's office hours. It makes them think you care. Now, I'm choosing my words wisely there. They think you care. You may not, but if you have that interaction, listen, I want to help everybody, but I'm a human being. We all are. And somebody who says, I want your help, you kind of want to help them even more. Stop by those office hours. Game theory suggests it'll end up helping your grades. I think the last slide I have here is about where you're going to get assistance and where you're going to get reminders. So let's say you have my class on Wednesday morning, and there's an assignment due on Wednesday morning, and you don't do it for whatever reason. It's over. You didn't do it. I don't mind. You're an adult. You can make your decision. Somebody asked earlier, can we leave early? You can leave early. You can make these decisions. What I don't do is go after you to get that work done. It was due Wednesday, you didn't do it, it's over. It's okay, I don't like you any less, but it's over. Other people's classes are different. They will engage you a little bit more, and this is what I'm saying. Classes will be different from each other.
Say like you had a I don't know, a family emergency or some other reason, and you weren't able to get the homework done over the weekend or whatever, and it's due the next day. Could you, like over the weekend, you know you're not going to get the homework done, could you email your professor? And depending on what they say, whether or not you can get it done the next week or something, handed in?
So in answer to that question, this is really important. Everybody's different. Some people will say, don't worry about it, you're fine, get it in when you get it in. Other people will say, in this circumstance, no problem. And still others will say, listen, it's due on Wednesday. You've had a week, you didn't do it. This family emergency that you had probably didn't last the whole week. Get it done. In my opinion, all three of the answers are okay. You have to learn how to adapt to that person who's teaching that thing. In a speech communication situation, timeliness is so important. For example, I can't speak today for 2.5 hours, even if I might like to. First of all, none of you would want it. But I can't do it because we have to get things done at a certain time. The best answer to a lot of your questions will be, it's going to be different, and you have to figure out from that particular instructor. Most important thing to sort of sum up what I'm saying, when you have a problem, you have to advocate for yourself. We're here to help you, and man, I help students as much as I can. But sometimes, right, you guys have had disagreements with teachers sometimes, maybe many times, okay? It's your job to sit down and talk to them because you're an adult. There are actually restrictions against being allowed to talk to your parents. This is on you now. If there's a disagreement, you have to talk to them. No, I'm not telling that story. You guys don't want to hear it. Inside the classroom, the biggest things for you to keep in mind are you need to take responsibility for what's going on for yourself. And number two, you need to take responsibility for what's going on for yourself. Number three is that same thing, but number four is ask questions. If you have questions, that's what we're here for. I have nothing else to do today. I could do something else. I love it here. That's why I'm here. That's why most of us are here. So anybody have any questions or thoughts? They can be really specific, covering things that I didn't cover at all, things about what goes on in the classroom. People have asked questions, and when I was putting this together, somebody said that I should let you know that you can go to the restroom when you want to. I don't know what the other idea is. Anthony asks me, can I use the restroom? What am I going to say? No. Yeah, go use the restroom. Somebody said to me, I should let you know that there's no bell at the end of class. And my reply was, well, now let's say, I can't see your name, Kelly. let's say there's no bell at the end of this presentation, but everybody gets up and leaves. Are you going to hang here or are you going to leave? Yeah, right? You're all just going to leave because it's over. And the other thing that I thought was a little weird that they wanted me to discuss that I said, I don't know about that, is if you have a class that meets only on Tuesdays, and the first day of the semester is Thursday, should you go to that class? Okay, your answer is the best one. What's your name? Tia. Tia's answer was, what the hell? That is such a stupid question. Of course you don't go to that class. It meets only Thursdays. Today's Tuesday. Why am I there? Yeah. So it's questions like this and more that I am here to help with. Another difference between high school and college, or at least for many of your high school experiences, is at the beginning of the semester you have this thing called a syllabus. Does somebody know? Do people know what that is? Some of you and some of you don't. So for every course, there's this thing called a syllabus that talks about all of the requirements of the course. It's essentially a contract between you and your instructor. Know what's in that contract. There's another thing that's passed out on the first day of the semester. So the syllabus is always available online. There's another document that's passed out on the first day of the semester, which I call a course schedule. I mean, basically it's just everything that you're doing every day in the class. As I said earlier, be flexible. Some of your instructors will absolutely follow that exactly. Others will have it as sort of a guide. So 2 documents that you need to pay attention to at the beginning. One is a syllabus. It's the whole grade breakdown, so you know how many points you need to achieve an A, how many points you need to achieve a B, all of the outcomes that are expected in the course. And the other one that I actually think is more important is a course schedule. It tells everything that's due. Earlier, this gentleman asked a question, what if you're going to be late with an assignment? And my answer was, well, it depends. The way my class works is, if you know in September that you have some conflict in November, tell me about it. I'll absolutely work on that. What I don't do so well is if you tell me that there's a conflict the day that something's due, because that's more often than not just sort of made up trying to get away with stuff. So first day of class, make sure you have a syllabus, make sure you have a course schedule, and read those carefully so you know what's happening. I talked about the time management thing earlier, where sometimes you have just a ton of stuff due all at the same time. Usually that happens around midterm time or final exam time. If you see a course schedule, you can plan ahead for that crunch that is there. And sometimes you'll see that there's just not a lot due at a certain time, and awesome for you when that happens. So I wanted to throw that in, syllabus, course schedule. And I'm still here with answers to any of the questions you may have.